Hello, my name is Kaz the Keeper, and today we're gonna go on a journey into my catacombs and find the ancient tomes discussing Post-Void. What did the ancients have to say about this gem of a 2020 indie game, and how do I feel about it myself? Today we shall discuss these things. Right off the bat, what exactly will you be doing in Post-Void? Well, it's sort of an arena mission-based shooter. You're not doing this for a story, although there is sort of a story, but not really. You're mainly doing this to see what times you can get on the missions, which there are only 11 of, and then reach the end. In that regard, it's a rather simple game, but it will leave a very lasting impression upon you based off of its, frantic nature, highly abusive graphics and audio, and, overall be, I would say, a cousin to Cruelty Squad. Not exactly in the same vein. Cruelty Squad has a much more robust game overall, but Post-Void is a quick little treat at the buffet before you chow into the Post-Void orange chicken. How is the combat? The combat is incredibly tight. It's really good. One of my main complaints is that for a game that makes you feel fairly frantic, it actually feels rather slow. Or maybe that's just me because I've played so many extremely fast first-person shooters in the last couple of years, being stuck down here with nothing else to do. So, for example, going from Ultra Kill or Severed Steel to Post-Void is probably unpreferred. It will make the entire game feel a little lethargic. However, this also can improve your gameplay in a sense that taking the game a little bit slower is actually probably preferred. Being frantic will probably make you lose and die and have to start over. That's no fun. As I mentioned prior, the music is fairly good. However, my one curious note about this is that there's only one track that simply repeats all the time. Every sound in the soundtrack comes from one song, simply played at different parts of the song. It's a longer song, it's just, I've never seen that before. This kind of speaks to its short nature. The game can be fully beaten, achievements and all, within, I would say, 30 minutes to an hour if you are very comfortable with playing first-person shooters. I believe I had beaten the entire game on the first day I bought it and then got all the achievements the next day when I tried it. I have, I believe, under 3 hours in this game. However, it is only, at the time of recording, $2.99. And at that price, this game is an absolute bargain. You will get your entertainment's worth if you can stand the visuals. The visuals, I would say, are something along the lines of, taking some copious amounts of illegal drugs and just being passed out in the street. The only thing I can really say that comes close to this is overdosing on caffeine, which I have nearly done several times. It's like looking in a kaleidoscope of violence and weird sexual imagery. It's not necessarily pleasant, but it's not necessarily unpleasant. However, one thing that is insanely unpleasant is the death screen. No matter how many times or how many drugs or how many punk metal concerts you've gone to, this will be, in fact, very frustrating to look at, and usually, if I know I'm going to die, I try to close my eyes. Being visited by the Benadryl man every time you die is not something I prefer. Seeing as that this game is a little bit older, and my review, or discussion as I prefer to say it, is going to be, rather late to the party. Instead of giving it an actual score, I think I'll give you some advice here. I'll put it in my grand tome in a little bit, but a couple things to help you with your first run through. Don't blink. If you have eyelids, don't do it. Blinking in this game can, be devastating. There's so many things going on, and you have to keep moving forward. That tactically blink. Maybe right after you know you've cleared a hallway. Or something like that. Actually think about it, because if you don't, you're probably gonna die. Don't turn around to kill an enemy until you have the compass. The compass is a godsend, and you very much need it. It should be, if possible, the first perk you pick up. Turning around could just, confuse you, and with the labyrinthian levels that this game contains, turning around and being confused can, make it so you die, because time is of the essence. And every second you're not killing is another second you're closer to death. So it's highly recommended that, you just don't turn around if all possible. Another little piece of advice, pick one weapon. The perks are not shared in between weapons. If you get one perk, it will not go to another perk if you pick the shotgun after picking the SMG. Pick one weapon, preferably on the first or second perk, and stick with it. My personal recommendation for your first run and first victory is the Uzi with the bullet bounce and exploding bullets, and exploding enemies upon death. That one is almost a sure victory and is definitely the easiest thing to do in the game. Also, aim for the head. Always the head. Don't know what the head is? Aim for something that sort of looks like the head. You'll kill it. It will be fine. As I mentioned prior, there isn't really much of a story in this game, and that's fine. There is a short introduction, which is very well animated, in my opinion, for its style, that sort of goes over you wanting to find inner peace in the void, that sort of thing, which, in that case, could be rather nihilistic, but it is what it is. Achievements. There are only 6. As I mentioned prior, you can 100% this game in about 2 hours, probably even less, honestly, if you're really into it. I generally like to take my time with games and get to know them a little bit before I 100% them. However, in this case, that was completely unnecessary. Now, finally, shall put this fine video game of human civilization in my great tome. For anyone who's curious what this means, I don't give games ratings in the traditional sense. Instead, I put them in a list. The list is not a rating and should not be looked at as such. It is simply a personal preference of mine on where this game ranks in the new era shooter or shooters past 2010-ish list. If you see other games on this list that you have previously enjoyed, the only intention is that you see other games on this list and then try those. These are all good games. There are no bad games on this list, as I just don't include them. In the future, there will be many other lists, but for now, there is only the new era shooter list. So with all that being said, where do I place it within? Well, I put it underneath Calcium Contract and below Chop Goblins. It sits in this fun little void, especially if you like getting additional games on your Steam profile or your PlayStation profile for 100%ing trophies. It will fit neatly into your collection. I really appreciate you sticking around till the end. I would really love some feedback on how I'm doing on these reviews. Let me know down in the comment section below, and if there's any games you think I should cover that are small indie shooters or really any indie games on Steam, I am not that picky. I hope you have a lovely day, and I encourage you to come back to my catacombs.